Hey, what's up? It's Cam Peterson. Thanks for watching MotoAmerica on YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe and follow all of our content.
It's time for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship, the round Dynapack MotoAmerica Superbikes at the Ridge Motorsports Park. As we set the stage for SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup, riders are getting ready to go on the racetrack from Shelton, Washington at the Ridge. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast booth. I'm Greg White, standing alongside two-time champ Jason Pridmore. Now, Jason, here in SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup, it has been close racing across the board. And last time we were at Road America, standings were just all over the place and photo finishes and great stuff.
Yeah, the championship's obviously very close, and we're going to have a new Junior Cup champion, someone who's never won a MotoAmerica championship before this season. So everybody's hungry for that. Cody Wyman right now with 3 wins. Looks like the guy that everybody's chasing. He's intelligent. He's riding smart. He's getting those points when he needs to. But I expect it to be, again, a really close race here in Washington.
Well, let's take a look at last time we were on the racetrack in Wisconsin, Jay, and we had some photo finishes.
We did. Gus Rodeo looked like he was going to break away, but Joe LaMandri comes through with his very first victory here in Junior Cup, a victory that we knew was going to be coming. He did a tremendous job. And the very next day, Kayla Yakov came out of that last corner trying to lead these two guys across the line, but it was Cody Wyman and LaMandri Jr. who just got by her at the finish, and you could see how close that finish was.
Yeah, another photo finish and his third, as you mentioned earlier. Let's take a look inside the numbers because it was a mix-up in the point standing. You can see Cody Wyman on the right part of your screen. He was second, he's first. And, you know, Gus Rodeo was fourth, goes to second. It was only Kayla Yakov that remains in fifth.
Yeah, but that guy there, you see Joe LaMandri Jr. with 45 points. He went from 7th to 3rd, Greg, and he's going to have, he's another kid that uses a lot of good racing IQ when he's out there riding, and he's going to be tough throughout the course of the year.
So the race is right around the corner, but before we get to that, let's get back to our MotoAmerica Live Plus crew, and here's Jason and Roger.
Thanks for that, Greg. So as we talk about, just saw the standings and how quickly they shuffled at Road America. It was actually Max Vandenbroek looked like he was about to make a breakaway in the standings. They miscalculated the fuel. He ran out of gas in one of the races. So it shows how just when you think you've got it figured out, how quickly things can change on the 48.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like leaving Virginia had a 50-point lead, and then, you know, that technical infraction and lost 25 points for that race. Then that issue at Road America, things can change quick, especially in a class like Junior Cup. When you look at here, you know, 1 through all the way down to 10th place could win any race. So the points can shuffle really fast.
Well, the good news for the 48 there is he can get those points back then as quickly as he lost them. His dad said, this was all on me. We ended up having a restart and a red flag. 3 extra laps had to be run, and I didn't think about putting more gas in the bike. I thought we were good. They were not, and there are so many contenders. But they're all chasing Gus Rodeo, a pretty big gap in qualifying compared to what you're used to.
Yeah, and had a big gap yesterday as well.
All right, so we'll see if Rodeo can turn a pole into a win. Junior Cup's next. As we're ready for this race start, let's take a look at the grid. Gus Rodeo on pole, J, 53.5.
Yakov, Wyman, Vandenbroek, Aiden Dow, and Chase Black. And then we go a little bit further back, Greg. We're going to have LaMandri Jr., Dreyer, and Levi Batty, along with Medina, Marinello, and Rivera. A little bit further back, Cressup. And then we have Enriquez, Williams, and Chris Elliott. It's going to be the last one back there. So really important. Let's hope that all of these young guys and ladies, obviously with Kayla there, get through. She's starting second. Didn't get a good start. I don't think Kayla got the best start.
I think Rodeo actually jumped the start.
Okay.
And he sent his wheel in the air, but Yakov up the inside. No, Rodeo's going to lead us through right now. So I know Race Direction's going to have a look at that. I saw some movement for Rodeo. There's a couple riders off there in the background, but no crashing. So here we go out front as Rodeo. I'm just out of the corner of my screen. His front wheel went to the moon.
He did. He got a wheelie, but these now we got 4 of them. Is it LaMandri Jr. or is it Max Van that has gone with him? It's probably Max Van as he started up there on the front row. So
and Max Van was on the second row, 4th.
This is a good track for Gus Rodeo too. As you can see, Kayla has a shot at Cody Wyman as they go up into turn 6. Thinks better of it. Now we've got a 5-rider freight train at the front. Just looking to see who that might be. It is the teammate. As Joe LaMandri Jr. is now up behind his teammate, Max Van.
Boy, Gus Rodeo on the 96 riding out front with such urgency in his riding style. Rodeo on that Rodeo Racing Warhorse HSBK Kawasaki Ninja 400.
His body language shows he's got a lot of urgency, but it's not really netting him, as now it looks like the 34 Wyman trying to go up the inside. So there he goes.
A great move, a little crossover move. He was entering a little bit wide so that he could cut it up underneath Rodeo. Now, this is a track, Greg, where a rider can't get away. There's not a lot of drafting here, so we'll see if Cody Wyman has got that in his plans. You can see he's protecting the inside until they get down here into turn 13. Is Gus going to be close enough? He's not. Yakov, all the while, she's just sitting there watching what these two are doing at the front. It's going to be really crucial, Greg. If there is a place to draft on these small bikes, it's going to be now, getting onto this front straightaway.
So Cody Wyman, your championship points leader on that Alpha Omega Ninja 400, has the lead as they come across the stripe. Rodeo in the draft. Not a lot of drafting here, like Jason was saying, but this is one of those spots as they head off into the front straightaway chicane. It's going to remain that order as Kayla Yakov on that Altus Motorsports entry. And then, of course, it's the SportbikeTrackGear.com of Joe Lemandry, the 62 Bazooka Joe, who goes 157.654 as the fastest lap from a standing start. So Wyman leads the way. Now 4 riders start to break free as Lemandry is in the back of this group with his teammate Max Van trying to hold on and close the gap and make it 5.
They're going 3 wide, Greg, as they go into turn 6. Gus Rodeo is going to make that pass. Cody Wyman's going to slot back into second. Kayla was looking for a way through there on both of those guys. Wasn't able to make that pass. It gets really tight up there. When you roll off the throttle going up that hill, you can't actually see your tip-in point till you get to the top of that spot. So Lemandry Jr. doing a good job. And now looks like we got a couple more riders that are tagging onto the back. Chase Black, Aiden Thau are both there, Greg, and you can see Levi Batty just a little bit further behind. Cody Wyman is looking like he went up underneath him in turn 9, and he did.
He did. So Wyman, right part of your screen, takes over the lead, and he's going to lead us again. In the replay, you can see how that pass earlier happened, but so Wyman out front again, likes to have a clear look at the racetrack. So it is 34 Wyman, 96 is Gus Rodeo, 31 Kayla Yakov. 1 day into being 15 years old. Her birthday was yesterday. Lemandry Jr. on the 62, Max Van on the 48. Chase Black is back there on the 14, Aiden Thau's on the 50, Levi Batty on the 71. SportbikeTrackGear.com, Junior Cup racing at its finest. A lot of conversation, Jason, about our championship points leader as he might lose the lead as Rodeo has position, nowhere for Wyman to go. So Gus Rodeo again takes over the spot.
Yeah, and it's really weird how it kind of slinkies back and forth because now they are dropping Max Van again. Max Van makes up all his time from turn 4 to around the turn 11 area, but now this gap is starting to really stretch out for these first 4 runners at the front. And Gus Rodeo was able to slide back down the inside of Cody Wyman, and you can see here, nobody's going to get close enough to them as they get down towards turn 6. Although Kayla is in the draft to Cody Wyman, it looked like he was trying to protect that inside. Did she make the pass? She did, Greg. So she goes up underneath Cody Wyman in that turn 6. The 31 gets herself into that spot. Now she's going to have to try to run down that leader, Gus Rodeo.
Now let's welcome the third member of our broadcast team, Hannah Lopa, into the mix. What do you got on our leader, Gus Rodeo?
Yeah, Greg, speaking of Gus, I talked to him. He said they set the gearing yesterday and they don't want to change it too much because he was feeling really comfortable. Ultimately, he's just focusing on himself and his own riding, chasing his lap times from last year. You know, as far as the track goes, he said he likes there's not a lot of long straights because he can try and make time in the corners without the fear of being drafted, and his hope was to try and pull away from the rest of this field. So we'll see as these laps wind down if he's able to gap the field from the front here.
Wow, Cody took a shot at Kayla up the inside there in turn 11, and he looked like he lost the front almost, didn't it? And he was able to, as you see Kayla giving the general sign we see a lot of the junior cuppers give, follow me, I can take you to the front, but Cody doesn't want any part of that. You can see his Joe Lemandry Jr. got up alongside Cody Wyman, but Wyman slots himself back in between these two here. But look what's happening, Greg. Gus Rodeo.
He's taking off.
To disappear at the front. And we've made comments, I have at least, where he has definitely gotten a lot taller this year. This is the kind of track and the kind of place now where he can use that size to his advantage, where it might be a bit of a disadvantage at other tracks that he can be drafted and redrafted. And you can see here, he does that 54.3 at the front, 154.3, fastest lap of the race from Gus Rodeo. Now, Kayla also was in the 54s at a 54.9. So she's going to try to do everything she can to bridge that gap back to Gus Rodeo.
Cody Wyman with a 17-point lead in the championship over Gus Rodeo. Rodeo has 2 podiums so far this season. Trying to get that elusive win. Rodeo right now setting sail. Yakov also trying to chase down Gus Rodeo. And Jason, if Lamandry and Cody Wyman start to rough each other up, that's going to allow Yakov to get away. So right now, Wyman's able to reel Yakov back in. And Wyman down the hill, that's a rough place to try to make a move.
Yeah, at the front though, 37.4 for Gus, so he's continued to stretch that lead just a little bit. It was basically 1 second the last time here, and now 37.4 first split, and then the rest of them are just a little bit tick off that. Hannah?
Yeah, Jay, as Kayla Yakov's trying to navigate this, I talked to her, and this round is pretty special to her because it's where she made her MotoAmerica debut last year. She finished in 6th. This weekend, she got her first ever front row start. She's never qualified better than 7th, so already, you know, celebrating her birthday. A lot of good things for Kayla Yakov. She was really happy not to work so hard at the start of the race, and she just wanted to make passes to move forward in the field, you know, since she's starting from the front row, but really optimistic overall on the weekend.
The one thing I love there, Greg, is you see her kind of close that door in turn 11. So Cody had shown her that spot a lap prior where he was going to go up the inside, and she learned from that. And that's that racecraft that we talk about so often, that when you get somebody special like Kayla, as young as she is, to be able to recognize, hey, I learned from that. And you can see Lamandry Jr. now, he takes a stab at Cody Wyman and goes up the inside of Cody into the chicane there. So now Joe Lamandry Jr., same kind of thing. A lot of racecraft from him also. But at the front, Greg, 54.0. Take nothing away from Gus Rodeo. He's looking to march forward and get his first victory of the year. 54 flat is it is a half second over this next group behind.
Yeah, so last time by, Yakov, Wyman, and Lamandry also did their best personal lap of the race. But while Gus Rodeo continues to walk away. 5.5 laps remaining in SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup. Gus Rodeo taking off, and Lamandry Jr. on the 62 has gotten by Kayla Yakov to take over second spot. As Wyman looks to go around the outside of Yakov and shuffle her back to 4th, she holds on to 3rd for the moment. And boy, that gap looks like it's kind of stabilizing, doesn't it, between Rodeo and Yakov? Even though he gained a half a second on this field, wow, he's still right there. Yakov, aggressive, is no room up the inside. She's done that before, holding that tight line. Doesn't do it this time on Lamandry.
She was trying to go around the outside in turn 9, so that was a big move for her. And she looks like she's trying to go up the inside here in turn 12. She's going to make that pass stick. Cody Wyman just has nowhere to go, but I think he's going to get a little bit better drive than both of them out of that turn there. Will he go by at least one of them as they get down into turn 13? He's close, not quite close enough though. So nice move from Cody, our points leader. He realizes that there's still some 6 laps to go. A lot of things can happen. And also, that last time by, a 1.5 second gap for Rodeo. Let's see if that's gotten any bigger. These 3 here mixing it up is going to allow Gus to just kind of sneak away. And you can't be too conservative here because Max Van Black, Dow, and Batty are just back there as Kayla now takes another shot at Lamandry Jr. going there into the chicane. She's going to make it through and go past. 54.5 for our leader, 55.1 for second place Yakov. So he increased his lead again, Greg. He's up to 2-second lead now for Rodeo.
The battle for the podium continues to heat up here as Yakov, Lamandry Jr. and Wyman duke it out. The Gus Rodeo continues to lead the way, about 4.5 laps to go. The gap now up to 2 seconds for the number 96 on that Rodeo Racing Warhorse HFK Racing.
Oh,
and Lamandry tried to make a move, didn't he?
He really did. He tried to make a move, and I thought it was going to open up a spot again for Cody to try to rip around the outside, but Lamandry does a nice job of closing that door on him. And you can see here a little bit different lines. That's what I love about the Ridge. There's so many different things that you can try and do, and you never really can have to follow the person directly in front of you. This is where Lamandry Jr. now might be able to try to go up around the left side of Kayla as they come up over the crest of that hill. Not quite able to make that. She's going to close that door off as well. So, Greg, really that first split, they're all running the same pace as this guy in that first split. Second split, they're actually a little bit quicker. Kayla's a 10th quicker. So, right now, this lap has kind of stayed the same. in the sense that Gus hasn't been able to increase his lead. Still have 5 laps to go. 2 seconds is going to be a tough one to bridge back. But if these 3 can stop kind of messing around, maybe they could try to put a charge on. Gus does a nice job here as we see the 14 now
Chase Black
go down. Chase Black,
out of
bummer.
6th place for Black. He was having a good run, so he is down on the racetrack trying to get it going again on the Pure Attitude Racing Ninja 400. All the while, 96 Gus Rodeo out front on that Rodeo Racing Warhorse HSBK Ninja 400. All the bikes in this class on Ninja 400. As Kayla Yakov loses position to SportbikeTrackGear.com's Joseph Lamandry Jr. Bazooka Joe takes the spot over the Altus Motorsports Racing machine. All the while, Alpha Omega's Kawasaki's Cody Wyman trying to figure it out. Not wanting to lose any more points to Gus Rodeo. 3.5 laps to go in SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup. 2.2 seconds lead for Gus Rodeo over Yakov, Lamandry Jr. and Wyman just coming into your screen as Kayla Yakov looks to make a move up the inside and grabs second back. Thinks better of it this time. High corner speed, the key to victory here in SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup.
Yeah, being able to just release the lever going into turn 6 and carry that speed, even if it runs you out there a little bit wide. If you carry enough speed, it makes it hard for the person to go up the inside of you, even in the middle of that corner, especially on these smaller bikes, Greg. And you can see right now 2.2 seconds. So Gus Rodeo again, you can see him off in the distance, just slightly pulling away. Kayla's gonna take a shot if Joe gets a little bit wide there at all. He's able to close that door as well, carry speed through the middle of that.
Jason, you'd never know by looking at Joe Lamandry Jr., but he's got a lot of things working against him here this weekend. It's his first time at this track. It's also his worst qualifying position so far this season. Not to mention, he's feeling really, really under the weather, just, feeling really weak. So he's doing a great job right now. I'm very impressed based on what he told me earlier.
Hannah, that's a great report because, Greg, for the last year or so, we've been saying when we've gone back to the East Coast, when are we going to see Lamandry Jr. be able to compete for a full season? To come to this track having never have seen it before and do as well as this young man is doing is a testament to how hard he's working away from the track, and obviously looking at how well he is riding that motorcycle and his team putting a good bike underneath him. So, if he goes on and continues to keep getting these championship points, we saw him score more points than any rider at Road America. Now he's come to a track that is foreign to him, and he's doing everything he can to try to get a little gap between him and Kayla and Cody Wyman. He comes up over that turn 3-4 area. They were actually just still lost another couple of tenths to Gus Rodeo at the front. So right now, they're more or less doing the same times, but they're just losing a tenth here, a tenth there to the number 96 out front. So Kayla kind of closes that gap back down a little bit.
And we've talked about Lamandry Jr., of course, out of Long Island, New York. Works in construction, so not only does he work out, he gets up at 5 a.m., he's home by 4, he's got to do schoolwork as well, and then work out. So Lamandry Jr. putting in the time away from the racetrack to make the dream come true. And right now, although Gus Rodeo is 2.5 seconds out front, Joseph Lamandry Jr., Bazooka Joe, trying to hold on to this second place. And Jay, with 2.5 laps to go, it's going to be a difficult spot for Lamandry Jr. to hold on and have this uncontested second place finish, because Kayla Yakov hungry to stay on the podium, as well as Cody Wyman, your points leader. He's trying not to give as many points to Gus Rodeo. Gus Rodeo could score 25 points, and Cody Wyman, if it remained this way to the end of the race, is only going to score 13. That's a 12-point deficit. That would take us his championship lead down to 5.
Yeah, and with another race here tomorrow, that's going to give Gus a lot of confidence. And Greg, you can't forget that Gus, what was it, 3 years ago or a couple years ago when he got injured here pretty badly? I believe it was in turn 8. And to see him come back here and continue to put these great lap times in, that's the first time these guys behind have got almost a half a second quicker. It was 54.8 to a 54.4 for those guys up in the front. So Lamandry Jr. definitely got his head down as he was able to drag Kayla and himself into their fastest lap of the race. And Cody just to tick off at a 54.6.
Looking at these lap times, Jay, you just talked about it. I mean, this is what we see in SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup. It's that the late racing and the fact that these riders are able to do their best laps of the race so late as Yakov looks like she was trying that inside line, but it's that corner speed of Bazooka Joe that holds her off.
Yeah, and they're just starting to pull away from Cody Wyman right there. You can see Cody had dropped off those guys just ever so slightly as Kayla runs the fastest first split of the race at a 37.1. The leader, Greg, was a 37.7, and you can see they are slowly starting to close Gus Rodeo back in. So he's probably watching his pit board pretty close, but look it is definitely, I think it's under 2.1 seconds.
He's right there.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. I mean, these laps are almost 2 minutes long, so unless Gus Rodeo's looking behind him, he's only getting that information on the pit board every 2 minutes. So Rodeo is going to be alerted. There's the look over his shoulder.
That's the look back that he probably wanted to see, and you can see that they've closed in. He still has a lap and, 3 turns to go. So, this lap here, if you look at it, Greg, look at our screen. We've gone red. Kayla with the fastest first split, and then Lamandry Jr. with the fastest second split of the race. So they're going to have this gap probably down to 1.5 seconds or so when they come across the line this time. And Lamandry Jr. is definitely working hard. Let's see what these lap times are. A 54.8 to a 53.8 for Lamandry Jr. Fastest lap of the race. Kayla with a 54 flat on her own as well back there in third. They've got that gap back to Cody Wyman, so now it's just a matter, can these two get any closer to Gus Rodeo and continue to close that down? 1.1 seconds, Greg, was the lead that time through, and they went a full second quicker than the race leader.
Yeah, that's 1 second and 1 lap, which means that if Gus Rodeo's not able to answer and Lamandry Jr. is able to do what he's currently doing, Gus Rodeo may be in trouble by the time they get to the final corner. But Rodeo with his head down now, he knows that that gap is shrinking.
I feel like he had things under control at Road America too on the last lap, and with 3 corners to go, it kind of got away from him a little bit. And right now, Lamandry Jr. is closing that gap really quick. As you can see, Greg, he goes a 53.8 the last lap by for the fastest lap, and then now fastest first split of the race for Lamandry Jr. Greg, if he can just get close enough before they get to turn 13, he might take a shot, and even more so if he can get a good drive out of the last corner on these little bikes. Remember, I said the one place you can draft is that front straightaway. He is on the back of Gus Rodeo now.
We thought Rodeo had it easy and was checking out, but Joe Lamandry Jr., who's already tasted the checkered flag first, he's going for it again. But, Jason, this is a danger zone for the young Lamandry Jr. You don't want to get too greedy. You got to let this lap play out, but he is running out of corners.
It was almost better that he was too far back because he didn't have to dive bomb that corner. He made a little mistake coming down that right-hander, Greg, but I don't think...
Oh, and Gus with a little bit of wheel spin. Jay, sorry. Oh, but Lamandry Jr. way wide. That's going to blow his drive. Here we go onto the front straightaway. Lamandry Jr. deep into the draft. They're allowed one move as they come to the checkered flag, and it looks like Gus Rodeo is going to be able to hold them off. 0.2 of a second, the margin of victory, and Lamandry Jr. with the fastest lap of the race on the last lap of 53.5. And Gus Rodeo able to hold on. Wow. For Gus Rodeo, a huge sigh of relief after dominating about halfway through that race. And Lamandry Jr. really put the lap down.
And he's putting some podium streaks together right now as Lamandry Jr. And I know you're already checking your stats to see how many he has, but Lamandry Jr. gets that second place. First time here racing, you can see 54.0 was his quickest lap of the race, Greg. That's on the new tire on lap 4. Lamandry Jr. goes 53.5, so a half second quicker on his final lap of the race. Lamandry Jr. is going to come into tomorrow with a head of steam and feeling really, really confident. He's probably going to feel like he can do 53s the whole race.
And both Rodeo and Lamandry Jr. closing the gap to Cody Wyman in the championship. We'll hear from Gus when we return.
Wow, Roger Hayden, what a race that was. Gus Rodeo looking as though he was running away with it in the end. A winning margin over Joe Lamandry Jr. of 0.2 of a second. That almost nearly went wrong.
Yeah, I mean, those last couple laps, Joseph Lamandry, if he can find that pace tomorrow at the beginning of the race, he'll definitely be there. But Gus Rodeo's kind of managed the race. kind of slowed down a little bit toward the end, I think. But for him, he's kind of did what he's been doing all weekend. He's been really quick. Gus has been in the hunt to win a lot of races this year. Today, he finally got it done.
And looks like he's been taking some tips from his teammate in Twins Cup, Anthony Mazziotto Jr. Anthony Mazziotto doing a wheelie. Look at the wheelie there from Gus Roddy. I didn't reckon you could wheelie one of them things.
That's a lot better than I can.
Yeah, I was going to say, me too. Me too. Great result then for Gus Rodeo. And as we heard from Jason and Greg, he closes in on the championship lead as well. Another great result from Kayla Yakov, another podium, and she gets the better by a couple of seconds over Cody Wyman. So Kayla showing again that it was by no fluke that podium that she got last year in the wet. She is definitely a contender.
And she's had a lot of podiums this year in the dry now. And,
yeah,
you know, honestly, she's kind of been one of the most consistent people the last couple races on the podium. So, you know, she's putting together a lot of good races. I know she wants to get that win, but she's getting close.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time, isn't it, before that victory comes her way. She's been so close, but again, another very confident ride, and she seemed to have a lot of confidence in the front tyre, didn't she? She was certainly able to turn the bike, it seemed, from where I was watching in pit lane at the time, a lot tighter than some of her rivals.
And they started battling, you know, Joseph Lamandre, Kayla, and Cody there, too, and that also kind of slowed them down a little bit, and I think that helped Gus make that break. But if you go and look at, like, Kayla's best time, her best time is the same as Gus Rodeo's. And so I think, you know, if they can continue to run that pace, they can run with Gus tomorrow. But he was fast yesterday. He's been consistent, put a lot of good laps in this weekend, and it paid off today, and he got the win. Yeah,
it did indeed. Now we see the riders coming down there. Kayla talking to her dad. Joe Lamandre Jr. That's going to give Joe Lamandre a lot of confidence for tomorrow, isn't it? Especially the speed that he had at the end. He's the only rider in the 53s. His fastest lap, half a second quicker than anybody else. That's a massive confidence boost going into tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's going to be a little bit disappointed because he's going to be like, man, if I could have just got through one lap sooner, or if the race was one lap longer. But tomorrow he's going to have to know that he's there, because maybe before the race, maybe he didn't know if he could run with him because the gap's been so big. But I think now, overnight, he knows tomorrow he has the pace.
Yeah, and what I like to see with a lot of these young riders, it's quite aggressive, quite hard racing, but fair racing. And Joe Lamandre Jr., one of the first to go over to Kayla and say congratulations. They will have enjoyed that. They will have enjoyed that fight.
Yeah, and it just has to be fun. You know, these guys going back and forth, and lady, you know, all the time, and they're so close. And I think they race, so like every race is like this. You begin to figure out who you can trust and, you know, who's not overly aggressive.
Yeah. Absolutely. Again, this will be the podium that we'll see in a few moments. There is Bazooka Joe. I wonder how much gum he's going to throw out. And again, if you are new to MotoAmerica, we call him Bazooka Joe. He has the gum that he normally gives out to the fans. And Kevin Rodeo, that's Gus's dad coming across and saying congratulations. That's sporting. I like that. I like to see that.
Yeah. I wonder if he can throw some gum like behind the podium.
Yeah, back towards us. Yeah, throw it our way. Yeah, so it is one of the beauties of MotoAmerica is that you can get so close to the riders throughout the weekend in the paddock and also down there in Parc Fermé and at the podium as well. And you've been a rider. This must also really just keep the adrenaline pumping. If you're on the podium, you've got the crowd cheering when you're coming in, sort of fist bumps from everybody. That's all part of it, and thoroughly deserved, all three of them.
Yeah, and when you're on the podium too, you look out, you see all the fans and different people, and also your team, because you know how much work they all put into it, and you know, it's definitely a really good feeling. And then once you get up there, for now, you know, then when you're not on the podium, it's really disappointing. So it just kind of gives you that more motivation each round.
Yeah, we saw Kayla there just taking a drink, and of course hydration definitely important for these guys and girls. There is the Rodeo family looking quite happy, very happy. Nana and Grandad, or Grandma, Grandpa, I don't know how you term them over here, but happy families, and big smiles there from Kayla. And she really has come on strong in the last couple of years, hasn't she? That experience that she got over in Europe, she's brought it back here, and she really is turning into a really accomplished little rider.
Yeah, and also for her, she's aggressive on the brakes. She's really confident, I think, in the front end, and not afraid to make some passes. And she's made a huge step since not even from the beginning of the year. You know, looked like she was barely hanging on, and now she's in the hunt.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we are going to get ready for the podium and the interviews. Let's hand back to Greg and Jason as we get ready for our Junior Cup podium interviews.
STG Junior Cup coverage is sponsored by SportbikeTrackGear.com, the motorcycle apparel and parts specialists. By Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. And by Geico. where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car or motorcycle insurance.
The results for race number 1 for SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup as Gus Rodeo 0.2 of a second over Lamandry Jr., who was on a charge. Kayla Yakov, Cody Wyman, and Max Van, your top 5. Let's get right to Hannah with our winner.
For Gus Rodeo, it's his second career victory, first this season. Gus, what gave you the confidence to click off such fast laps to put a gap on the field?
This is what I wanted to do. I wanted to come here and win, and we came with a little bit different of a tire strategy. So I was able to go really good off the first couple laps, but my front tire just started falling off, and I felt like I was falling off. So yeah, we're gonna put on fresh tires for tomorrow's race, and we're gonna see what happens there. Thank you to all my sponsors that helped me chase this dream. MAR Contractors, HJC Helmets, Cathedral NJ, Martin NJ, Spellcaster Pro, Rodeo Warhorse HSBK, just everybody, NJ Mini GP, Geoscape Solar, Red Mist Racing, my mom, my dad, brother, sister, grandparents, Rich, he's got this thing dialed, and yeah, thank you everybody.
Congratulations to Gus Rodeo. Second place today goes to Joseph Lamandry Jr. Joe, a new track for you and you're feeling quite under the weather, but you managed to chip away at that gap to the front at the end there. How'd you do it?
Well, first off, I gotta give a special thank you and a happy birthday to my dad. You know, none of this would have been possible without him, and this really goes out to him. Tomorrow I'm gonna push for that win, but you know, we gotta thank Sport Bike Track Gear, Boss Racing, CyberSafe Solutions, RST, MotoAmerica's, Spears Racing, Uda Torres, Bob Robbins, everyone else here that's coming to support, and congratulations to Gus and Kayla. They rode an amazing race, and I'm ready for tomorrow.
Congrats, Joe. Guys.
Well, sure would like to hear a story about the race, but we get the rattle of the sponsors, but good ride by him and fastest lap of the race at a 53.5 for him. Let's get right back down to Hannah.
Third place today goes to Kayla Yakov, a frequent podium finisher here in MotoAmerica. Kayla, a lot of passes being traded during that race. Take us through it.
Yeah, we just battled with setup all race. I mean, I felt like I was sliding everywhere, about to crash, so it was a bit frustrating, but we'll try to get it fixed for tomorrow. I feel like I have really good pace. It's just really difficult. But yeah, I just have to thank everyone behind me. Also, thank you to everyone for the birthday wishes. But yeah, HJC, Altus Motorsports, WPS, Moto Lawyer, Hardcore Barbell, Barrel, sorry, and you know, just everyone else supporting me this weekend. Thank you very much.
Kayla Yakov, guys.
Great ride for Kayla, and here it is, Jay. 5 points now between Wyman and Rodeo, and only 11 back to third. Well, Gus Rodeo had the big wheel in the air. He was able to pull it off in the end and hold off the advancements. For Hannah and Jason, I'm Greg. See you next time.